when you only have, let's say, 30 minutes in your day to draw because you work and you're tired, you got to eat, you got to take care of bills, you got to take care of kids or whatever life obligation you might have. Sometimes what ends up happening is we put too much emphasis on those 30 minutes that we have to draw. You're kind of like, man, I got 30 minutes. I got to make the most of it. It's got to be quality. I gotta really put in some good drawings in these 30 minutes. And while that can be a good thing, what sometimes instead happens is that when we put too much pressure, we start to become perfectionists. We start to worry about whether or not we're making the best use of our time. And so the first step is, surprisingly, let go. Let go of this aspect that every time you draw, it has to be the most valuable drawing ever. Draw because you want to draw. Draw because you enjoy the process of drawing, not necessarily the result of what you make. Step 2 after that is to then build discipline. And what does that mean to build discipline? Well, it means that on days where you don't feel like drawing, on days where you feel like you want to procrastinate because maybe you do want to draw, but you're kind of like, again, going back to that first point, you got to build discipline and tell yourself, well, you know what? I said I was going to draw today. And so even if I only draw for 5 minutes, I'm going to get it done. Now, again, you don't have to draw every day. Like, you can do that, but you don't have to. But what's more important is if you tell yourself, if you say, I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to follow through on it. And maybe tomorrow, maybe after you do it, you're like, okay, maybe this is unrealistic. And so you're going to go in and you're going to change it. You're going to say, all right, tomorrow I won't draw, but I'll draw every other day. And sometimes the discipline works in a way, kind of like going to the gym or starting any new habit. You kind of have to start slow. Oftentimes, going ham at the start is a recipe for failure. And so instead, what I would recommend is you say, all right, let's start easy. Maybe I'll draw on the weekend, right? Pick a time where it's easy for you. Because if you can't even draw for the times where it's easy for you, where you're not stressed, how are you going to expect yourself to draw when you're coming home from a long day of work, you have final exams coming up, and you're incredibly stressed? There's no way you're going to draw 100%. But now, let's say you've done the first 2 things. You're like, Kaycem, I'm there right now, bro. I'm hearing you. I'm doing the practice. I've built a routine for myself. What's the next step? The next step now is to build an actual game plan for yourself. What are you actually trying to improve with your art? What is your goal with your art? Do you want to be a better artist at drawing characters? Do you want to get better at drawing backgrounds? Do you want to make a manga? Whatever it is, be concrete with your goal. And then write down what are the things that you need to do to achieve that goal. Okay, I want to get better at drawing characters. Well, to get better at drawing characters, I need to get better at drawing gestures. I need to get better at drawing forms. I need to get better at drawing anatomy. And once you've understood those things, that is then where you can start to build a curriculum for yourself. Because now, when you actually have the time, right? When you're coming home from work or from class or whatever have you, it's no longer random drawing, which is, by the way, okay. You can go in and just randomly draw. I do that all the time. But sometimes it's nice to know what you're getting into. And then from there, that's really about it. Those 3 steps, rinse and repeat, because you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to deal with it all the time. Right? You're going to draw, then you're going to lose discipline. You're going to start becoming a perfectionist again. You're going to get better as an artist, and then you're going to have higher expectations for the type of art you make. And you're going to say, man, my art has to look this good. Now, here is maybe like the 4th, if I could add a 4th little sprinkle to this. A lot of these things become easier to do when you have a community. Now, I'm not saying you have to join my Discord. I'm not saying you got to be a part of this YouTube community, this Twitch community. You can find other artists. You can find friends, because I'm gonna tell you now, those 3 things become so much easier when you're doing it with other people. If you stayed through my whole spiel and you're like, Kaycem, I agree with you, but maybe I want something that's more specific, I have something here called the After School Art Crew. By supporting me, you'll get access to high quality resources, notes. You'll get access to a community that actually chats pretty often, pretty regularly out here. You'll get access to resources that I don't share on my streams, but you'll get, you'll be able to grab like my brushes, in-depth notes, all of that stuff. And this right here is going to be the big one. Every month, I will host an exclusive art stream dedicated to critiquing your work. And what is valuable about this is sometimes it's hard for you to look at your work and to see what you need to improve on. Also, I actually wrote down here a guide for self-taught character artists that actually goes over all the fundamentals that you might want to look at and all the different videos I have here linked. So if you guys are interested, again, you can just watch my streams. You can find your own curriculums. You can do all that. There's many different ways. My option is not the only one. So yeah, whew, that was a long a long answer, a hopefully helpful answer to you guys.